Everyone, thank you for joining us tonight. I'll call our meeting to order. This is the February 10th, 2026 regular meeting of the Salina Public Schools Board of Education. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on our agenda is approval of the agenda. There are no changes needed this evening. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Dana moves. Scott seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. Now on to recognitions and presentations. And first, the Horizon Award recognitions with Olivia Opat.
Good evening. Teachers who have demonstrated excellence during their first full year of teaching are nominated to be District Horizon teachers. From that pool of nominations, an elementary and secondary teacher were chosen. We are proud to announce that this year's Horizon Award recipients are Grace Boffman and Gavin Blem. Grace teaches pre-K at Huesner Elementary School. She enjoys promoting creativity and learning through play in her classroom. One example of this was when she applied for the Sudden Opportunity Grant through the Salina Education Foundation. She was able to create a sunshine garden near the pre-K and first grade doors at Huesner, and her students had the opportunity to plant flowers and even take them home. She has continued her learning by attending professional development conferences like the Conscious Discipline Conference last summer. She gained valuable insights to implement within her classroom. Grace is also a past LIFT teacher recipient. I now invite her to the podium to speak.
Well, good evening. I'm deeply honored to receive the New Teacher Horizon Award. Again, I'm Grace Boffman, the preschool teacher at Huesner. And from a young age, I knew I wanted to teach, not inspired by my own dreams, but by watching my mom, the most hardworking and loving para at the South Middle School. Seeing her care for her students with patience and dedication showed me what teaching really means, serving others with a full heart. This work is never about one person. It takes a village of committed and loving people to make a difference in our children's lives. Teaching 3- and 4-year-olds as they take their first steps away from their parents is joyful and sometimes challenging. I cannot do it without my incredible team beside me. Thank you to my amazing paras, Ms. Heather and Ms. DeLeon, for their flexibility and laughter. Thank you to our administrators, Lori Munsell and Sandy Rentz. When you walk into our school, you can feel the love that they pour into it. Thank you to our custodians, John Charles, for keeping the building tidy and safe and welcoming. To my friends, Grace and Marie and Hallie, I truly would not be here without each of them. Their encouragement, laughter, and friendship supports me every day. My husband has been a constant supporter for me through conferences, classroom decisions, decorating my room, redecorating my room, and then decorating my room again, coming home in tears or coming home with a million things to say. My faith is why I'm here. Jesus guides everything I do in my classroom, and my dad and I often say, love Jesus and love others. And this is one job I get to do to live that out every day. I want my students to know that they are seen and loved the way that Jesus loves us, unconditionally and with joy. Being a teacher allows me to model that love in small moments and reassurance, patience, and celebrating curiosity. I am blessed by many mentors like Shannon Jones, Kim Specht, Erica Moyer, Alexis Newberger, and so many others. I can spend the whole night thanking everyone who has poured into me. This award is not mine alone. Teaching can be challenging, but it's also beautifully rewarding. Every day I get to be a safe person for children, watch them discover the world, and see them learn to care for one another. Their curiosity, laughter, and unfiltered joy remind me why I choose this work. I love the creativity. What other job allows you to dress up like an astronaut, a tooth fairy, or even a firefighter? What other job is it acceptable to maybe laugh when someone farts, or allows you to take a little dance party? What other job do you get bombarded with 1,000 I love yous and the chance to turn a simple moment into big learning opportunities? I cherish the routines that comfort little hearts and the cozy hugs that I get when I greet them at the door, and the bursts of energy that never seems to dwindle. Being a pre-K teacher means building a classroom where children feel seen, safe, and loved, a place where families trust us with their most precious people. I love my students very much, and every day I get to plant a seed of confidence, compassion, and watch them grow. There's no greater privilege. I want to thank everyone who's supporting me on this journey. I'm grateful, humbled, and excited to keep serving our children with love. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. Gavin is the band director at South Middle School and the assistant band director at South High School. He attended Fort Hays State University, where he earned his bachelor's degrees in music education, secondary education, and trumpet performance. During his time at Fort Hays, he served on the leadership team for the Tiger Marching Band and even performed in the Wind Ensemble, Jazz Ensemble 1, and the Hays Symphony Orchestra. He was also awarded with the Most Outstanding Freshman Award and the Henry Edward Malloy Music Award. Gavin has continued his education by earning a master's degree in trumpet performance from the University of North Texas. While at UNT, he served as the trumpet section manager for the Wind Ensemble and organized and led a brass quintet. Gavin has also had a private trumpet studio for years, and his students have been selected as members of the Kansas Music Educators Association All-State Jazz Band and Concert Band, as well as the Texas Music Educators Association Regent Ensembles. A fun fact about him is that his colleague with the South Bands, Darren Brooks, was actually his first trumpet teacher from 7th grade to 9th grade. I now invite Gavin to the podium.
All right, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to USD 305 and the admin at South Middle School for their support and recognition and nominating me for the Horizon Award. I sincerely appreciate it. Admittedly, it feels a little bit odd talking at a board meeting as just a second-year teacher. I feel like I have so much learning left to do and a lot of growth left to become the educator I desire to be, but I'd be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to say some thank yous. So first and foremost, I'd like to thank my family and friends. Being a band director isn't an easy thing to do, but I imagine one of the only things more difficult than that is listening to one talk about their job all the time. I'd also like to thank my former teachers. A phrase I've heard thrown around a lot in the last couple of years is "you teach how you were taught," and I personally feel that gave me a giant leg up in the start to my education career. So I'd like to say thank you to them. I'd also like to say thank you to all my fellow staff over at SMS, whether it be administration, counselors, custodial, kitchen staff. You all play a larger role in the success of our students than you think you do, and you're a major reason as to why our music programs are succeeding. And last, but certainly not least, I'd like to say thank you to the incredible students that I get to work with every day. As an introvert, one of the biggest challenges I've faced in the last couple of years is coming out of my shell and being myself in front of a room of 60 middle schoolers. But their support, encouragement, laughter, work ethic, everything has really pushed me to become a better educator and helped me to come out of my shell. And it's truly been a blast to grow as an educator. I get to see them every day grow as musicians as well. So I want to say thank you to them. Thank you.
And will you guys please join us at the front for some pictures? In recognition of these awards, Grace and Gavin's pictures have been placed in the hallway outside of this room. They are also awarded with an engraved plaque and an apple pin for their recognition. Congratulations again. Next, we have our Master Teacher Award. Members of the NEA Salina selected Kim Warren, Journalism Advisor and Business Teacher at South High School, as the Salina Public Schools 2026 Master Teacher. Kim Kim received her bachelor's degree from Kansas State University and has an MBA from Kansas Wesleyan University. She has taught for a total of 33 years, with 27 of them being at South High School. She currently teaches 21st century journalism, graphic design 2D, graphic design digital, and accounting, and advises both the school newspaper and yearbook staffs. She is the Business and Communications Department Chair, a building leadership team member, and freshman class sponsor. She is also a member of the Kansas Scholastic Press Association, former KSPA Executive Board member, and Journalism Education Association member. Kim enjoys seeing her students showcase their creativity and growing their leadership, technology, and communication skills through the opportunity of producing the online and print newspapers and yearbook. She also enjoys students having the opportunity to leave a legacy for South High. Outside of school, she enjoys traveling, camping, and keeping up on all things K-State athletics with her husband, Dee. A fun fact about her family is that her 2 adult children were products of Salina Public Schools, where they attended Huesner, South Middle School, and South High. I now invite her to speak at the podium.
I am honored to be named the USD 305 Master Teacher. I believe this award represents all the teachers, administrators, and students that have influenced me over my many years in education. My job as an educator is to teach my students to think critically and communicate effectively in a variety of situations. My students have the opportunity to produce the online and print newspaper and yearbook, which allows them to showcase their journalistic skills, as well as show their skills in creativity, technology, leadership, and design skills. Being on staff also helps students develop their soft skills, which employers say many people lack in the workplace. I had the opportunity to have students in class for multiple years, so I'm really able to see the growth in all these skills over their high school careers. All educators are unique in their own ways, which helps them reach a variety of students. In my classroom, student voices and opinions are valued and encouraged. The student press is truly the student's work, with me acting as the advisor. I often tell my students that I'm more of a coach. I can teach, I can encourage, and help the students realize their potential, but I can't do that work for them. I can't throw that touchdown pass to win the game. It's really up to them. The final product is their own and one they should have pride in. Newspaper and yearbook is one of the few classes where the school community, as well as the public, are able to read, see, and even purchase the students' homework. To an outsider, my classroom may seem really chaotic, but they get things accomplished. I have always valued students' creativity and uniqueness and hope that my students find their own level of success in my classroom in all of my classes. I strive to allow students to show up as they are and encourage them to follow their passions. This passion may look different for each student, so part of my job as an educator is to give my students a variety of opportunities to help them find their passion. My classroom is student-centered, where they have a chance to serve in leadership roles as editors for both newspaper and yearbook. They make editorial decisions and have practical experience in leading and motivating their staffs. Students who are artistically inclined are encouraged to expand their graphic design skills with Photoshop, InDesign, and Illustrator. Students who love photography hone those skills, while the writers are able to work on their skills. Even though I allow students the opportunity to sharpen the skills they enjoy, I also require students to learn and practice all aspects of journalism, which requires them to get a little uncomfortable. This is where students really find the most growth. When visiting with my former students, the uncomfortableness is something that they are most grateful for. They saw that growth because they were pushed outside of their comfort zone. Seeing these students succeed as adults is also something that I enjoy. Thanks to my coworkers, my parents, my husband, kids, and really my own journalism teacher, who put me on the path that helped me find my passion. Thank you.
And Kim will actually have you come back up for some pictures. We extend our congratulations to you as the Salina Master Teacher. Your picture has been placed outside of this room alongside other outstanding educators. And that we present to you a crystal apple as a memento of this honor. Congratulations again. Thank you. Thanks, Deborah. Tonight, Alec Easterday is our student photographer from South High. We appreciate your work. Our first awards go to the Central High School art students. These art students were honored at the 2026 Eastern Kansas Scholastic Art Awards. Central High School instructors are Chris Pauls, Noah Bartali, and Irma Roman. If the instructors and students are here with us tonight, will you please join Superintendent Hogan at the front? Students, as I call your name, please step towards Superintendent Hogan so you can receive your award. After you received your award, please walk to the end of the line and remain standing until all students have been recognized. Sarah Day. Danica Dixon. Isaiah Douglas. Irish George. Amy Gorel. Avery Hendricks. Alex Parker. And Jeremiah Smith. Please allow the board to congratulate you. Our next awards go to the South High School art students. These art students were honored at the 2026 Eastern Kansas Scholastic Art Awards. The South High School instructors are Sarah Craddock and Irma Roman. If the instructors and students are here tonight, will you please join Superintendent Hogan at the front? Kinley Buttermore. Raiden Heller Galindo. Kinsey Kinderknecht. Oh, there. Ivana Montoya Gardia. And Lacey Stillwagon. Please allow the board to congratulate you. Our next awards go to the Central High School band students. Guillermo Rodriguez as the instructor. Will you please join Superintendent Hogan at the front? Central High's Jazz Ensemble received the highest statewide honor by being selected as and invited to perform at the 2026 Kansas Music Educators Association in-service workshop. Drummer Julian Lundberg was also selected to perform with the All-State Jazz Band. David Alba. David Alba. Peyton Burnt. Catherine Bowler. Dominic Brosi. Casey Brown. Tyler Brown. Riley Buckwald. Rorik Krebs. Hudson Duff. Jordan Edwards. Carson Finnan. Dominic Freeland. Grant Hinka. Landon Hutchcraft. Tegan Lossing. Julian Lundberg. Eunice Martinez. Rosalind Ninke. Alexis Thompson. Aiden Stokes. Nicholas Exides. Will you now please have the board congratulate you? Our next group of awards goes to the Central High School choir students. Ryan Holmquist is the instructor. Will the students please join Superintendent Hogan at the front? The following students were selected to perform with the 2026 Kansas Music Educators Association in-service workshop and an all-state choir. Central High School set a new record with 17 students selected this year. They also had 5 seniors selected to perform in the International Choir at Carnegie Hall in New York. These students were selected out of thousands of applicants from 7 countries. Students, as I call your name, please step towards Superintendent Hogan. Sitlali Alarkhan. Wyatt Angel. Eden Arb. Madison Burnt. Court Como. Sarah Day. Jacob Ebel. Aiden Flinner. Mitchell Haskett. Anna Kraft. Marcos Lira. Elizabeth Martinez. Katie Morgan. Ellie Rykoff. Sarah Rosario. Max Shaforjan. Oscar Shaforjan.
Thank you.
These were a part of those as well, but. Could I please have the 5 seniors that were selected to perform in the International Choir come back up to the front, please? Wyatt Angel. Madison Burnt. Marcos Lira. Ellie Rykoff. And Max Shaforjan. Thank you, and you can have the board congratulate you again. They're sisters, I guess. Our next group of awards goes to the South High School choir students. Jessica Hakoda is the instructor. Will you please join Superintendent Hogan in the front? The following students were selected to perform with the All-State Choir in the 2026 Kansas Music Educators Association in-service workshop. Students, as I call your name, please step towards Superintendent Hogan so you can receive your award. Maureen Addo. Maurice Addo. Nevaeh Bennett. Sebastian Burse. Gabriela Castro. Lydia Gary. Jocelyn Shaw. You can now have the Board of Education congratulate you. Our next group of awards goes to the Central High School debate students. Will the instructor and the students please join Superintendent Hogan in the front? The following students competed in the 5A state debate competition. Marcos Lira. And Abdiel Ramos. Thank you. You can now have the board congratulate you. Our next group of awards goes to the South High School debate students. Chris DeLay is the instructor. Will you please join Superintendent Hogan at the front? The following students competed in the 5A state debate competition. Lena Luthapon. Cece Firsch. Jose Pinedo de la Torre. And Jocelyn Shaw. Congratulations. Our next award goes to South High School orchestra student. Jordan Martin is the instructor. Will you please join Superintendent Hogan at the front? Alina was selected to play viola at the All-State Full Orchestra at the 2026 Kansas Music Educators Association. This is her 4th year to be selected. Alina Arceo. Our next group of awards goes to the Central High School theater students. Barbara Hill is the instructor. Will you please join Superintendent Hogan at the front? In January, Barb Hill was inducted into the Kansas Thespians Hall of Fame and named the Region 2 Kansas Theater Teacher of the Year. Congratulations to Barb on these accomplishments. In addition to this, Central High School theater students attended the State Kansas Thespian Festival, where they were awarded with a gold troupe. Their production of Catch Me If You Can was one of 5 shows selected to perform at the festival. Students, as I call your name, please step towards Superintendent Hogan. David Alba. Alexandria Aldrich. Kayla Amaro. Wyatt Angel. Eden Arb. Madison Burnt. Peyton Burnt. Dominic Brosi. Casey Brown. Tyler Brown. Mari Brown Morales. Eleanor Burke. Court Como. Grayson Coral. Aerith Cox. Rorik Krebs. Atticus Crow. Sarah Day. Hudson Duff. Carlin Elting. Aiden Flinner. Lexi Foos. Dominic Freeland. Gabriel Freeland. Andrew Graber. Camille Graber. Eli Green. Will Griffith. William Howe. Adeline Jagozinski. Anna Kraft. True Lawson. Lily Leonard. Ivan Lehman. Marcos Lira. Uraldi Lira. Julian Lundberg. Colin McMichael. Katie Morgan. Isabella Oland. Zayden Pierce. Aaron Pro. Abdil Ramos. Ellie Rykoff. Sarah Rosario. Mars Schultz. Elin Shaft. Gabriel Sharp. Max Shiforjan. Oscar Shiforjan. Ariana Tolson. Ruby Villanueva. Ava Weaverling. And Zephania Woody. We now please have the board congratulate you. Our final group of awards goes to the South High School theater students. Shylin Wheaton is the instructor. Will you please join Superintendent Hogan at the front? The South High School theater students attended the Kansas Thespian Festival, where they participated in Thespy events and attended workshops. Students, as I call your name, please step towards Superintendent Hogan so you can receive your award. Brooke Kane. Jasper Carter. Gisela Hernandez. Thea Hoekstra. Elise Holiday. Vanessa Jamie Dominguez. Alan Johnson. Caitlin Marshall. Michaela McMullen. Ember Miniman. Jennifer Morrill. Madeline O'Connor. Fernanda Orr. Jaden Plant. Liliana Rasmussen. Aliana Rios. Sarah Lynn Russell. And Leonardo Vidales. Congratulations, you guys can have the board congratulate you now.
We will move on with the less exciting second half of our agenda here. Thanks to those of you who stayed in the room to power through with us. A great group of students to recognize and outstanding staff as well. And it's always good to have people here that we can recognize the achievement that goes on in our buildings all day, every day. So on our agenda next, approval of the consent agenda items. Those items this evening are the minutes of the January 13th, 2026 regular meeting, minutes of the January 27th, 2026 special meeting, the personnel report, the financial reports, including the January bills list, December treasurer's report, December investment report, and December journal entries. Approval of the following encumbrance listings. First, to Century Business Systems in the amount of $115,264.15 for the multi-year copier service agreement for the copy center. To Contract Paper Group for the purchase of white copy paper in the amount of $45,813.60. To Presence for the clinical conversion fee in the amount of $20,000. To Dell in the amount of $780,624 for the purchase of Chromebooks and Google Chrome licenses. To Logicalis in the amount of $25,320 for the renewal of the Cisco Duo multi-factor authentication software. And to Dignity Consulting in the amount of $28,600 for a workshop funded through Kansas Stronger Connections competitive grant. Approval of the audit contract with Agler and Gattert Chartered in the amount of $22,000. Approval of curriculum fees for the 2026-2027 school year with no changes from last year. And approval of the Macaroons Club at Central High School. Is there a motion to approve? Yeah, Amy moves to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Paul seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. Next on our agenda, action item 7A, 2026-2027 school calendar with Superintendent Hogan.
Mr. President, thank you. I'm not looking at the file. It won't come up on my screen for some reason. So we have a committee, a calendar committee that's represented by administrators. Mr. Grant serves on that as a board representative, a number of central office administration and teachers as well. We did some work, so typically our practice is to have two calendars, a tentative calendar for the 26-27 school year, as well as a 27-28 calendar. So our work was to review that previously approved calendar. You did it back a year ago, 2025. And we made one slight change to that regarding a date that was at Christmas break. We moved the date back to end that quarter by 1 day, starting our winter break essentially a day early, and then we added a day on the backside when we come back with teachers and kids. So that was the only change from the calendar that was previously approved. We are still working on our tentative calendar for 27-28 that will come back to the board at a later time for approval. So it'd be my recommendation, Mr. President, that you approve the calendar for the 26-27 school year.
Questions or motion?
Mr. President, I move that we approve the 2026-2027 school calendar as presented.
Scott seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Dana's hand was up. Yeah, thank you. 7-0. On to 7B, on our action agenda, policy review, KM, visitors to the school with Aaron Wright.
Good evening. When it comes to this policy recommendation, we are doing things a little differently this evening. Ordinarily, board policy says that you will have two readings of potential changes to board policy prior to adoption. However, for this policy, we need to get the change implemented. It is last legislative season, the legislature passed a law that requires us, that prevents us from being able to request personally identifying information from undercover officers when they approach or become on premises, if they identify themselves as undercover officers. We've had some protocols in place related to how what we require if somebody, any law enforcement agency wants to come on premises and serve a warrant, specifically a administrative warrant versus a judicial warrant. Part of our protocol had been to request that the person provide identification when trying to issue that administrative warrant. This change in the law sort of made that portion of our procedures a little impractical. So we have, KASB has provided a recommended amendment. We have reviewed that here for our policy KM to bring our procedures back in line with board policy at this point. So that's what you have before you here, KM. It just identifies that school personnel may request to see identification of those officers to determine that they are actually officers, so they can seek their official identification information, agency badge, that type of thing. What we can't do is ask them to provide further documentation of their personal identification, right? Their home address, that type of thing. And that's what this amendment is aimed at accomplishing.
I had a question. Just that the introduction here on the packet, policy review KM, it says this is a bill concerning possession of firearms, but I don't think there's anything about firearms here, right? So it just was in some other part of the bill, or
it was
something?
the bill that in general, that was what the bill's subject was. It's this provision, just this provision, that makes a difference for us for this protocol.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Again, typically we would read this tonight on our discussion agenda, and then it would appear next month on our consent agenda for final approval. But
due to the timing and the need to get this in place to be in compliance with policy and procedures in the building, do want to get it approved tonight.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the revisions to the board policy KM, visitors to the school, as presented.
Thank you. And seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. And on to our discussion agenda with more policy review. Item 8A, Aaron Wright.
Now we're going to do it the regular way for the remainder of these policies. So you have in your packet several recommended amendments to board policy. Just as a reminder, the board, we subscribe to the policy service through KASB. They send us recommended amendments or to our current policies or provide new policies to cover topics that haven't been previously addressed. We take those recommendations, I review those and discuss that with the department leaders for the departments that the policies would affect, determine what is practical, what works with our current procedures, and bring those recommendations, sort of pull all that together and bring those recommendations for you. Several years ago, the board indicated its desire to move back towards being in line with the KAS policies. So wherever we can make those changes, we are making recommendations to bring those back in line with the KASB version of those. They have a whole team of attorneys who reviews those every year, so it makes sense to try to keep them as close as possible to that, assuming it fits our needs. Okay? So the first one we have for you tonight is BCBK for executive session. The amendments to this policy are recommended due to concern. It's basically to clarify that recording within executive session, which is subject to privacy rules, is not okay in the district, and that the board could take measures or actions should they determine somebody is actually recording in executive session. Any questions about that? Okay. Policy BG. We are not recommending a change to this policy, even though I just said, despite the fact that I said we're trying to get in lockstep with KASB. Our policy did not reference any particular entity that the district can be in association with. Presumably, the board can identify that if it wants to be in this policy as is gives permission for the board to be affiliated with organizations it thinks are in the best interest of the district. We like that language better. So we are recommending no change.
Mr. President, that's just one more side note. It's based on a decision that KSB did to step away from the national organization, and so that's the purpose or the reason behind the original recommendation. Thanks.
IHF, graduation requirements. We are creating, it seems like there's a lot of changes to this policy. In reality, the amendments we are recommending are to, one, get it closer to the KASB version, but also the information within that is related to your local graduation requirements are being moved into a procedural document for the district. So the information is not disappearing. It is simply that the policy itself doesn't require that sort of specificity for a local determination related to the graduation requirements. Questions about that one? Okay. IIBE is a new policy. We have not had a formal board policy related to artificial intelligence. This is the version KASB has recommended. We do have an internal procedures document, sort of guidelines, best practices for the use of AI, and I have reviewed that document with the policy, and they are not in conflict. There may be an opportunity to make some additional changes into the internal procedural document based on some language used in the board policy, but overall the substance is unaffected by this. Questions on that one? Okay, IKB, controversial issues. So again, trying to move closer to the KASB version, we have essentially adopted the KASB version, but added in a portion from our current policy that has proven beneficial from the educational program's perspective related to the use of films, videos in the classroom, and being able to identify what's appropriate at each grade level based on the rating of the materials. So we did keep that portion in. I believe there has been a concern about the definition of controversial materials being removed from the policy. That was done simply to move us towards the KASB version, which is more global and provides the board and the district with more deference in determining what that is. Questions on that one? Okay. The IKCA, Human Sexuality and AIDS Education, they have removed AIDS references throughout the document. It's largely, I think, just not as relevant as it once was prior to current use. And so they have removed that from the definition and also, from the title and from references to it throughout the policy. Okay, moving on to IKD. This is about, these next two policies are actually legal changes based on case law that the recommendation for change is to be so that the policy is in line with those recent decisions related to parents and their rights to opt out their students from participating in events or activities or discussions that violate their religious practices. To be clear, we have always allowed a parent to exempt their students from those practices with a sincerely held religious belief. However, the case law suggested some tweaks to the policy would be helpful. And that's for both IKD and IKDA. That's the rationale behind both changes. Okay, so moving on to JBCC, we're recommending to adopt the changes that KASB has submitted. It is simply a change in the law about what other school districts are allowed to do when transporting students out of district into their own. This change to the policy is just to be in accordance with that change in the law. JCAC, interrogation investigations. This one also has, seems like it might have quite a bit of change in it. To be clear, it is the amendments here were done in order to bring us closer to the KASB version. However, the areas that have been sort of amended here or recommended for amendment here are areas where things tend to get very confusing for building administrators on how to handle that. I think the clarification here is extremely helpful for them. It is one of the questions I tend to get most frequently when related to this type of thing is who can be present, who has to be notified, do they have the right to prevent me from sitting in with the student, when do I call the parents? I think these changes really assist the administrators with figuring that out.
I do have a question on this one. We call our police officers in the school resource officers, and this talks also about school security officers or campus police. Are those different kinds of things? Are they just different names to call the same people?
They are different. School resource officers are police officers, law enforcement officers first, sort of assigned to a school district. There are other a school security officer is frequently someone that is employed by the school district and is not actually law enforcement. And then there are sort of hybrid versions in between that sort of run the gamut. Those are the clearest distinctions I can make for you, is who employs them and whether they're actually law enforcement or not, what powers they have.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, adult students is a new policy. We didn't have this version, so we're just recommending adoption so that we can clarify how we place and who is responsible for making the determination as to how an adult student is placed once they want to enroll in school. Okay, those are all of the policies that KASB has submitted to us for recommending amendments to the policies. The next policies that you have in your packet are simply our chapter, I don't know what the chapter is called, but it's K. It's the public facing policies. We have taken it upon ourselves to make sure that you are reviewing all of our policies, at least at some time, on a relatively regular basis. So we are putting these in for your review tonight. Only a few of them do we have any recommended changes for. In fact, the only two, I believe, are KG, where we have just changed it to reflect the current executive director title instead of referencing the old executive director title. And then KGDA, we've also made some changes based on our internal practices to comply with those. If I can get to it. This is the one, so KGDA is the one that we just talked about with the identification of undercover law enforcement officers. So it's also reaching through to this policy as well to make that change.
I think there's also KBCE. Is that,
Did I forget it? Sorry, there were a lot. My apologies.
sorry, there's a yellow part on it.
K, you said KD?
B like boy. No, well, you have to, you have to notify.
My apologies. I left that off my list.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
That one was simply a request to amend that so that our Director of Communications is aware whenever the media is wanting to interview students. Obviously, the principal will determine the best course of timing, action on that. But we want to make sure that the district is aware that that is occurring as well.
Thank you.
I mentioned that when I think about our. Oh, yep. Boy, I did a terrible job on my list. I apologize. Okay. The materials distribution in school. Again, this looks like a lot of change, but it really is not. We are moving all of these portions that you see removed from here into an internal procedures document for how those that weren't moved to the top. So some of these were just moved from the bottom of the policy up to the top. The portions that you see removed here are being put into a procedural document for administration to be able to follow to implement the changes to this policy. We've had a lot of go-rounds over the years with how materials get disseminated and who to and when and who must approve it. So we're trying to, we thought it best to streamline and simplify this process as much as possible. Questions on those? Okay, well then we will return them to you at the next board meeting. If you have any additional recommendations or suggested changes, we'll incorporate those and bring them back next time for your approval.
Thank you. Next on our discussion agenda, 8B, textbook adoptions with Laura Lyons.
Good evening. If we were in a classroom, I think I would offer you a bathroom break. But we're going to power through. Tonight I have several textbooks that have been evaluated by teachers, groups of teachers representing all of our secondary buildings and elementary buildings, in the case of our elementary ELL textbooks. Many of these teacher groups, you'll notice, decided to continue with the physical textbooks that they have in their classrooms, but they chose to add digital licenses that will continue for 6 years. So some of these may look a little different from what you've seen in the past. And so I'll walk through these just briefly so that you can ask questions, and feel free to interrupt me as you feel comfortable doing that. Our first textbook is the AP Language textbook. This is a great example of one where we are purchasing digital licenses for 6 more years and keeping the physical textbook that we have in our classrooms. The next is English language learners at the secondary level. We had an adoption for this textbook a few years ago, and so we only need a few materials. In particular, they wanted a few materials for our beginners who really need additional support in learning that really the functional vocabulary that they need when they first arrive in our classrooms. The next would be culinary, culinary essentials, culinary manuals and professionals, and then human growth and development and nutrition and wellness. These are all in our family and consumer science departments. The culinary teachers reviewed all of the textbooks that they had in place, and so this is kind of a group. Culinary Essentials decided to stay with their textbooks and extend their digital licenses so that students would have access online. Culinary Menus and Pros did move to a new edition of the same textbook, but they will be getting classroom sets of the textbook and then digital licenses to go along, but it is the same text, just a new edition. Human Growth and Development. You may remember this course as one that we revised slightly to go with a pathway for early childhood that we are working on. And so this textbook matches a little better than the textbook we were using, that particular pathway, and focuses more on those early years. So classroom sets as well as digital licenses for that one. Nutrition and Wellness also decided to stay with the same textbook, and so we're just adding the digital licenses for 6 years on that one. One of our larger adoptions is our Algebra 1 and Geometry adoption. You may remember as we worked through the middle school math, we have a team of teachers who worked hard to create coherence, grades 6 through 10 in particular. And so this resource matches nicely with our middle school resource. It includes it's a very comprehensive adoption. It includes physical textbooks, digital licenses so that every student has access. It also includes a 9th grade screener that matches those materials in addition to the Success Maker intervention, which would be for a select number of students who need a little extra practice in order to really build their foundational skills. Psychology and social studies is our last adoption for secondary. You'll notice there are a couple of different social psychology books here. Let me explain what's happening. We've been using Exploring Psychology with in our partnership with Hutchinson Community College for college psychology. We're changing that partnership to a partnership with KSU Salina, and this textbook is actually for that college course. The next one is for the general college or the general psychology course that's taken by students who maybe haven't yet decided to take the college version. And then there is another version that might come before you. Our AP Psych has also changed, but that one's not up yet, so next year for that one. So lots of opportunities to take psychology for our students. And finally, our U.S. History book. Again, this one had a reasonably recent publication date, and our social studies teachers really wanted to stay with the same text. And so, again, just digital licenses. Finally, I worked with my colleagues, Mrs. Lindenberger and Mrs. Craddock-Iceland, on ELL adoption, K-12 this year, so that's another big one. However, they also really like the resources that they have and want to stay with them. And so we are continuing with Cengage. They need a few practice books for students at both middle school and elementary. The middle school adoption is Inside the USA, and the elementary adoption is Reach for the Stars, Our World, and Reach Higher. Those are just different levels of elementary textbooks for our littles in grades K through 5. So ELL will be all set with these 3 recommendations, K-12. At the end, you see there's a summary. I did add an asterisk so you could see the textbooks that are continuing with the same text, but we needed to recommend digital license purchases. And you can see the total for this year's recommended adoption. What questions can I answer for you?
Just out of curiosity, with the digital books, how do they, I'm old, so we used to highlight stuff. What do they do now with the digital? How does that work?
It depends upon the textbook. I have to be completely honest about that. Some of those textbooks would have that functionality within the online system. Some of them have really elaborate functionality. Others, it's really just a PDF of the textbook that gives students access when they are at home sick or, unable or working on homework in the evening. So it just gives them access. So it varies quite a bit from textbook to textbook, that functionality.
I had a conversation this week with somebody who was concerned that children were being distracted because they're looking at a screen and they get all these pop-ups. So I wondered if there are any pop-ups on our textbook when they're reading their textbook on their Chromebook. Do they have pop-ups coming in?
What a good question. Thank you for asking that question. I don't think I've ever had that one before. No, these are all contained within textbook company websites. So even those, one of the steps that we take in this process is we make sure that we can integrate through Clever, which is single sign-on, which means you just go to one place and that connects you directly to your textbook. It keeps students and teachers from having to remember all of those usernames and passwords. They just have to remember one. Within that system, it goes directly into that textbooks system, which means that student data is kept private in there if student data is stored in that system, which it isn't always, but sometimes. And that means that because we've paid for these licenses, it's sort of like having the fanciest Netflix subscription, right? You don't have to have ads. And that's exactly the situation for our textbooks. Students will not be seeing ads for things within these systems.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. President, if I might just add a point of information for our new board members. So these are on a rotational basis. We have a rotation system set up so that we can spread out some of the costs, as you saw tonight, algebra. So the big ones, math, ELA, they have a tendency, because of the way we use them, the cost is excessive, so we spread out that cost over a number of years. So they come up in a rotation through several years as we are reevaluating this, given particular content areas.
Our standard is 6 years, so each of these would be a 6-year adoption.
Any other questions, comments? This is on our discussion agenda, but we could move it to action if anyone feels so inclined to make a motion. We can also move on. Thank you. Next on our agenda, item 8C, Summer School Review 2025 Review with Jody Craddock Iceland.
Seems like that was kind of long ago. Okay, so thank you for allowing me to come in this evening and review 2025 summer school and just talk about our 2026 program that we're beginning to develop. Let's see. There we go. In 2025, summer school was held from June 2nd through July 2nd. During this time, we served 892 students, which was an increase of 47 students compared to 2024. We attribute this growth to improved communication and identifying students who would benefit from our summer program. Our teachers and counselors did an excellent job of reaching out to families and students to enroll. We operated 2 elementary sites and 1 secondary site. Across all locations, we maintained smaller class sizes and continue to provide a licensed social worker at each site. In addition to academic supports, we ensured students' basic needs were addressed. Food resources were made available through our summer lunch program and from the Salina Food Bank. Transportation was available for all students. And finally, in 2025, we added additional community partners with the help of our CTE coordinator, Melanie Hammond, which our students enjoyed.
At our two elementary sites, Huesner and Schilling, we served a total of 422 students. This was an increase of 29 students compared to 2024. Reading instruction focused on literacy skills aligned to both our curriculum and individual student needs. Students received supports in phonics, decoding, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension, with priorities set by our reading coaches to prepare them for the fall. In math, students continue to work on fact fluency. Compared to 2024, we saw a 7% increase in the number of students who maintained or demonstrated math growth. Our elementary students also benefited from several long-standing community partnerships. We were supported by 3 foster grandparents through the AmeriCorps Seniors Program. The Salina Food Bank provided 200 bags of food to support families. And in addition, the Salina Public Library once again donated 500 books that went home with our students at the end of summer. Survey feedback was positive, and among the students in 3rd through 5th grade, 86 reported that the summer school helped improve their reading and math skills, and 96% of parents reported that the program benefited their child. In 2025, we served 117 middle school students, which was an increase of 32 students compared to 2024. Our academic focus centered on ELA, math, and STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, and social emotional learning embedded throughout the day. In math, instruction focused on fact fluency with fractions and division. In ELA, students engaged in both fiction and nonfiction texts, participated in writing activities, took part in comprehension discussions, and expanded vocabulary. STEM instruction was theme-based. 6th grade students explored the human heart and the impact of physical activity on heart rate. 7th graders focused on earth and space science, and 8th grade students engaged in themes on engineering and weather. Additional opportunities provided to our middle schoolers were experiences that included the Mobile Maker Lab, Rolling Hills Zoo, Kansas Highway Patrol, a drone pilot from K-State Salina, and a nurse practitioner from Salina Regional Health Center. Again, survey feedback was positive and highlighted that students enjoyed the STEM classes due to the guest speakers and the hands-on experiences they provided. We also saw an 8% increase in students reporting summer school was engaging and positive experience, along with a 3% increase in overall students' improvement in reading and math compared to summer before. Across credit recovery, driver education, ACT prep, and Metals 2, we served a total of 353 high school students. This was an increase of 53 students compared to 2024. As a result, students earned 325 total credits, which was 44 additional credits compared to 2024, and 22 more students earned their driving permits compared to the previous year. While we did see a 3% decrease in the overall completion rate, this data has helped us identify our next steps. Moving forward, we will focus on completion supports to ensure students are able to fully benefit from our programs. That brings us to our plan for the 2026 summer school program. Summer school will be held June 1st through June 30th, with students in session for 21 instructional days. At the elementary level, sessions will be held at Cottonwood and Huesner. South High School will serve as the site for both middle school and high school programming, with the exception of Metals 2, which will be held at Central High School. Daily schedules will remain the same as last year for both elementary and middle school. For high school, we are planning a morning session with the option to add an afternoon session if needed, and this will all be based on student enrollment. At the elementary level, our focus is on high-quality instruction tailored to the individual needs of students. Our reading and math coaches identified standards to ensure strong alignment with our district goals. They also developed common pre- and post-assessments in reading and math, allowing us to measure student growth across both elementary sites using common assessments. Character Strong lessons will be utilized for social emotional development, and students may enroll in reading, math, or both sessions, depending on their individual needs. The students this structure provides intentional instruction and comparable data to guide future planning and for our continuous improvement. At middle school, students in 6th and 8th grade will focus on standards in reading, math, and science. To help measure academic growth, again, students will complete pre- and post-assessments in reading and math. In addition, lessons from our social emotional curriculum, Character Strong, will be integrated throughout the program. This summer, we are introducing a special focus for 8th graders called Pathways to High School. The intention is to provide additional support for the transition from 8th to 9th grade. Instruction will be provided by high school teachers, and in addition to reading and math instruction, 8th grade students will participate in lessons focused on the skills needed for success in 9th grade. Examples of these lessons include how to ask for help and self-advocate, understanding credits, graduation requirements, and GPA, exploring opportunities for involvement in high school activities, and career exploration to support future planning. This proactive approach is intended to support stronger starts in 9th grade. For our high school program, there will be no cost to families for credit recovery. Credit recovery courses will be offered in the areas of math, English, social studies, science, and speech. Driver education will continue to be offered at the cost of $175 per course, or for the course. Metals 2 will be available to students who have successfully completed Metals 1. And this course is offered during the summer due to the limited welding lab space during the school year. The cost is $110 per credit, and students may earn concurrent college credit through Salina Area Technical College. Overall, the high school program is designed to support credit recovery, on-time graduation, and post-secondary pathways for our students. Any questions?
I have a question. One, the ACT prep wasn't on that last, is that?
And we are leaving it off of here for this year because we already pay for Zello.
Okay.
And Zello will be a way that students can access the ACT prep information.
Awesome. My second question is, since you're changing up, and I really like your idea of the 8th grade transitioning to high school, is that going to be promoted differently, or how are you going to get the word out to parents about that?
So we'll work with our counselors, our middle school counselors, and provide information about the program, kind of that, I'm thinking, requirement for the course, to qualify for the course. There we go. And they will be talking with parents as they call to get students signed up.
Okay, awesome, thanks.
Yeah, Mr. President, they've actually, our middle school administrators kind of started with generating this idea, and they've actually taken some steps to implement some of these changes now second semester, which will lead to the success of that summer school program. So some of this is being implemented now as potentially credit recovery, although we don't give credits at the middle school. That idea design as giving kids opportunity to catch up on needed skills is already being implemented after school programs right now.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next on our agenda, discussion agenda item 8D, internal transfers with Dr. Rector.
Good evening. I am bringing you information. There is kind of an extensive description in the board packet that outlines the details of our process. And so this is the third year that I've been bringing this forward. From the perspective of that, several years ago, there was some legislature that went forward to basically have school districts provide open seats for non-residents. And part of our process is that we wanted to make sure that the Salina residents had also those same kind of opportunities to transfer to a school that had open seats. So we basically get ahead of the non-resident process that is has certain statutes, a statute that identifies the requirements. We get ahead of that and mirror that for our resident students. And so we recognize that there will be times when families will request to attend a school that's outside of their physical or their legal address. And we want to make sure that our Salina Public School students have the same opportunity to be able to apply for those open seats as our non-residents. So with this process, we set a resident capacity, and that resident capacity, we look at it from two kind of levels. We look at it at the elementary and at the secondary. And so at the secondary, we're looking at grade by grade. And so we look at our enrollment that we had in the fall, our enrollment that we have in the spring, and then we make projections of where we think those students will be, the number of students that we'll have in those schools that next year. So we look at kindergartners and thinking about what is that 5-year average of kindergartners coming in, and then we kind of roll the 5th graders up to the middle school and kind of move everybody up to get us this overall number of our projected enrollment. We then work as an executive team and then with input from principals to set the preferred class size and thinking about where is that class size that would then allow us to see where we're going to have open seats. As we identify those open seats, we look at that actual enrollment, calculate that open seat number, and then we actually have to provide that to the public so that way they can see where we have openings in our district. If a school is at a number of 385, then we say that elementary school is closed because we're basically at that what we would call open seat capacity, and that allows us to kind of monitor the size of our schools and to try to also have that balance across our district. With the process, as we looked at it this school year, what you'll see here is that you'll see that both Coronado and Meadowlark are considered closed schools because they do not have any open seats because they are over that 385 number. Then you'll see in the green boxes, you'll see a number. That represents the number of seats that we would have available to a family that would want to, let's say they live in Hughesner, but they would like their student to go to Cottonwood. They could apply for one of those open seats that's at Cottonwood in kindergarten. And so you can see that at some schools, we have more grades that are available than others, and that's because we look at it by school, and we also look at it grade by grade. And so this represents the number of open seats that we would have available to our residents to apply for to be able to be part of that school. If we happen to get over the number of applications for the particular number of seats, then it basically kind of goes to a lottery process. So let's say we had 6 families that wanted their kindergartners to go to Cottonwood. They don't live in the Cottonwood area. So we would basically then do a lottery system to be able to identify those 4 seats that were open.
I have a question.
Yes.
The teachers can have their kids attend where they teach, right? And is that not part of this, or is that part of this?
So what we made the decision as a district that when we think about employees, thinking about the best place to work and learn, that we want to make sure that we give some opportunity for employees to have their students go to their school. And so that does not necessarily count into these open seats. And so we have a process, an application process for them as well. But if they are employed there, then they are allowed to go to that school. And then that school, they can then follow up the pathway for our feeder pattern. In regards to the secondary schools, we look at this, and this, again, at kind of that grade level targets. We looked at the same date frame, and then we look at our middle schools, and so we would look at the number of students that we'd have middle schools, and it would be 240 per grade. And so at middle school with the 3 grades, if a school is over that, or 720, it would be closed. At the high school, it is 960. So basically the same process that we look at for the elementary elementaries, but at the elementaries, we really are kind of digging a little deeper because we're thinking teacher by teacher, the number of teachers and that particular grade level. At the middle school and high schools, because you have so many class choices, we look at an overall amount for that particular grade level. And so at our middle schools and high schools, you'll see the number of openings that we have at Lakewood, and their total enrollment is 644. At South Middle, that school is considered closed because it is over that 720 number. Then when we look at our high schools, you'll see that we have openings at 9th, 10th, and 12th grade for Central High School, and then South High School is closed because they are over that 960 number. So we take lots of things into consideration here, but also looking at the balancing of our schools and also looking at that capacity of the staffing that we have available. And so these are the numbers that were set for the resident capacities. And so what we will do is that we will advertise to all the families. We send out information that notifies the families that here's kind of our process. And so if they want to apply for a school that has open seats that is outside of their legal address or outside of their residency, then they have that opportunity to apply. We accept those applications until March 25th, but what we'll do is we'll post that, we make the applications available, and then we make the open seats available on the website all on that same day. After we get the information from March 25th, we'll look to see if there's any particular grade levels that we need or any schools that we need to do the lottery process, and then we'll notify the residents by April 1st. One of the things I did not mention at the beginning is that students that are in a school now, that those students basically are kind of earning residency if they're at a particular elementary school, middle school, or high school. And so if they are attending right now in a school and they want to stay in that school, they do not have to do an application. And we send that information when we send that out to parents to describe that process to them. And we also notify our employees of the process. Questions? And so what we'll do is we'll come back later on in the spring, and then I will have the non-resident numbers identified for you as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. On to school board reports and upcoming dates of importance. No dates listed there. Paul, we'll start with you on any board report.
Sure. I had a cancellation of a Salina Adult Education Center meeting for the 16th, so unfortunately we didn't get to make that one. But other than that, right now it's on the 27th, attended the USD 305 Needs Assessment Work Session. With each successive one, we managed to refine our processes and identify and prioritize the current needs and navigate the inherent challenges associated with each one. And I just think that we're on the right trend of moving forward each time, improving our process. So thank you.
Today I was, as Vice President of the Salina League of Women Voters, I got to introduce Mr. Hogan as our presenter for today's Lunch and Learn, and I always learn something new at those presentations. I spent from just after Martin Luther King Day to last Wednesday presenting programs of songs about Kansas to kids in almost every elementary school in town, and it was great fun. That's all.
I had the opportunity to speak with Chris Mann and Colin McRoberts, who are both running for election next year regarding school funding and the Department of Education, both at the state and federal level. I attended the Salina Adult Education 45th Anniversary Celebration at the Salina Arts Center. Kelly Mowbray and her team do a fantastic job, and it is an incredible asset to our community. I also participated in the needs assessment and learned from our principals what is working well for them and where we have room to grow. I had the chance to meet with Kate Lindsay at the Salina Education Foundation to learn about the opportunities and challenges that the SEF is facing, and I'm looking forward to serving as a trustee for them. And I got to see Into the Woods at Salina Central, and I will just say we have really talented students and amazing staff that really bring these productions to life.
I also went to the Salina Adult Education photography display, and it was really great. It was great to see just the wide variety and just so many people that they serve. I also went to the Heartland Policy Council meeting, and that was great. I got a tour of the facility, and then at the meeting, they're trying to figure out ways to get more of their families involved, and so they're talking about doing. They're doing conversational activities, and they're looking to start that. And they're also looking at ways to increase their numbers because they need to be at a certain level. I think it's like 97%. They're really close. But they're also looking to increase their numbers. But it was great.
I attended the Parks and Rec Advisory Board, and I did a KSB negotiations training.
I attended a Central Kansas Cooperative and Education Board of Control meeting and the building needs assessments here 2 weeks ago. And thanks again to those in this room that participated in that and staff across the district, administrators that came to help us with that. It is always a great reminder of all of the work that's done each and every day in Salina Public Schools, the challenges our staff faces, and the challenges our family face, and the role that we play as a community in supporting families and students and our staff in turn. So again, thank you to all of you who participated in that. We've got big decisions here this spring as we look towards budgeting for the 2026-2027 school year. And now on to Superintendent's report. Superintendent Hogan.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I'll be a little redundant. I attended many of the same things board members have with the Board of Control Friday the 16th. Also got to attend and speak at the Salina Adult Education Art Show that Friday night. We'll just give another shout out to Mrs. Kelly Mowbray. She's, again, I think one of the best in the state, gets recognition from the state level and certainly from us locally. We got to celebrate 45 years of adult education that evening for Salina specifically, and then 10 years as our partnership with Partners for Success and the utilization of that program. Really outstanding. And so thanks for her and her leadership. I was invited also to the Martin Luther King Jr. celebration at St. John's Missionary Baptist Church. So thanks to Dr. Smith for that invitation. My first opportunity to attend that. Really well done. The 26th, I attended a stewardship meeting with our insurance provider, Iron Insurance. Also, the needs assessment. Again, just to reiterate the shout out and thank you to Dr. Rector and her organization of that process. Again, I've said it to this group, and I'll say it again publicly. Probably one of the best processes that I've heard of in terms of utilization of that needs assessment. So, appreciate the board members' time and our principals who gave up some evening time to participate in that. We had a weather event this year for the first time that impacted our SIT tournament a little bit, and so I would like to thank Mr. Merring and Mr. Stewart for being proactive in that process, and lots of hurdles thrown at them, but we were able to get our tournament finished that Monday, although we did not have school, and that would not have happened without their forward thinking, so just wanted to thank them. I also attended the KSSA Links meeting, which was paired up back-to-back with Greenbush Winter Superintendent's meeting. Did that, got lots of information out of that meeting, and got to spend some quality time with Dr. Watson during those several days. Our athletic board and administration meeting, February 4th, participated in new admin orientation, which I love. It's giving us the opportunity to mentor some of our young principals, and that's great. We had our Keystone Improvement Day, February the 5th. Again, shout out to Shanna and specifically Deanna Collins who organized that event. We have 3 schools that we partner with. It's developed based on size, demographics, so it's us, Hayes, and Emporia. Really interesting day that day. We, of course, were the best, got high marks all the way across the board. But it was interesting in that room, although we don't associate necessarily with those 2 school districts, the issues and topics and next steps were pretty much in line. We tackled them a little bit out of order from one another, but everybody seems to be dealing with the same kinds of issues, and I think there's some real opportunities there for us to collaborate with those districts and learn from our own struggles as we're taking on these different challenges that we're all facing. Also attended, well, thanks to Ann Zimmerman for the invite today. I got to go speak at the Salina League of Women Voters, and I want to thank the board in advance. I'm leaving tomorrow to go to Nashville for the National Superintendent's Conference, so thank you for the permission to do that, and I will be gone for the rest of the week. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. On to executive session this evening, 11A, executive session for personnel. We need 5 minutes.
Mr. President, I move that. Mr. I move that the board goes into executive session at 7:18 for 5 minutes for the purpose of discussing personnel matters of non-elected personnel and their contractual obligations because if the matter were discussed in open session, it might invade in the privacy of those discussed, and that the Board of Education reconvene into open session at 7:23 in the SEC room.
Is there a second? And seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. We will recess into executive session, be back in open session at this room at 7:23. Open session and do have action to take as a result of that executive session. Is there a motion?
I move. Oh, hold on. I move that we accept the early resignation of Mary Lou Heller as presented for the 2025-2026 school year, and that the board waive assessment of liquidated damages.
Scott seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. We have reached the end of our agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn? In a second. Everyone. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. We'll see you in March.